Recently, I stumbled across a back workout that Marlon and this guy Eric did that's called "Your Back Workout Should Look Like This." And after watching that video, I realized your back workout should not look like that. But since so many people see Marlon as the gold standard of the fitness industry, as well as Eric being well respected in the fitness industry, I figured I'd make a video going over their workout and why I'm not a big fan of it. Before I get into their back workout, if you're looking for programs to help you build an aesthetic physique or improve your athletic performance, be sure to check out my 90-day aesthetic body blueprint and my 120-day peak athleticism package, with the 90-day aesthetic body blueprint obviously being more focused on aesthetics and hypertrophy, and the 120-day peak athleticism package being more performance focused. Both of these have monthly workouts, access to my private community, as well as weekly Q&A calls. And whether you're in this for 1 month, 2 months, a year, whatever, you're gonna see lots of improvement, and you'll see what a structured workout routine will do for you. But if you're someone who thinks they benefit more from one-on-one coaching, I also have one-on-one coaching. All of these will be in the description. Who am I? My name is Martin Rios. I have a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science. I actually have the physical therapy version of this, and I was in school for 5 years, and I also do studying on my own to make sure I'm giving you guys the best possible information. My goal is to make fitness great again through athletic bodybuilding, so you can have your dream athlete physique while also improving your functionality and athleticism. Now onto their back workout.
You seem to take your warm-ups really seriously.
Very.
Why?
I want to feel the weight in the way it's intended to be felt, so that if I'm like, ooh, I really feel that stretch in the warm-up, and then I can find that perfect bar path with a weight that's obviously very safe and not going to injure me, then I can take those same cues and work them into my working sets.
Yeah, the warm-up's kind of a reintroduce yourself to lifting weights kind of thing. Because we've been doing this a long time, you know how to lift weights. But I'd say if you show up to the gym cold, your technique, precision, mind-muscle connection, specific bar path is gonna be like 95% as good as it could be. And that's an A, but we want A+. So that warm-up makes it 100% awesome mind-muscle connection, super technique, and the injury risk stuff is just not really up for debate.
Yeah, and I think also like you're priming your CNS. So like, I think everybody can agree, they'll usually feel a little better in their like third, fourth, fifth, sixth working set of a workout than they do in their very first. So like, if you can start warming up the body appropriately, then you're gonna get into that kind of rhythm faster.
Yes. I take my warm-up very seriously. I think this dude Eric is trying to act like he's some sort of fitness philosopher and trying to appear smarter than he actually is. Are warm-ups important? Yes, I actually made an entire video as to how you should properly warm up, because warming up is very important. It helps decrease injury risk and maximize performance. But as I said earlier, this guy Eric, I feel like he's trying to appear smarter than he actually is, and that he's some sort of philosopher of exercise, and really it's just unnecessary, because warming up is really, really easy. I mean, you just do some sort of light cardio, some mobility, and then a specific warm-up to the task that you're gonna do. Again, I have a video going in depth on this, which you should check out after watching this video.
The camber does not help you do the movement. It makes it more difficult. The deep stretch, the eccentric control, the huge bend make it tougher, and that means your muscles get a huge stimulus, but you don't have to lift hundreds and hundreds of pounds. You'll notice that as he's rowing, he's coming up substantially. Typically, we would consider that cheating, because typically it's done just to cheat, get more reps out. But here, it's on purpose, it's planned, because at the bottom he gets that deep stretch. But at the very top, if he was to not come up, stay bent over, the leverages here suck. The leverages here are pretty good. Almost everyone will stop many reps short just because they can't touch their tummy anymore. By letting him come up and leverage a bit, he can get a few extra reps. He's no longer as limited by that bottom stretch, and he gets the combination of awesome bottom stretch and more repetitions through a full range of motion.
Ooh. Take one more, take one more.
Yeah, let's do it. Good eccentric control. Control.
First exercise, deficit camber bar row. This is a free weight horizontal pull exercise, which is good, but this exercise is stupid. Firstly, because the camber bar is completely unnecessary. You have to use compensation at other joints to get the bar higher, which is what makes the cambered bar more useful than a barbell in this situation. You can see when Eric does his exercise, he has to stand more upright or extend his hips in order to get the bar higher. At least this was mentioned by Marlon, but he didn't mention that the target muscles are now changed to more of the upper traps and biceps instead of focusing on the low to mid back, because I feel like they kind of give you this illusion that going a little bit higher or extending your hips a little bit more will just lead to you getting more extra reps and also just hitting the target muscles a little bit better, when in reality it doesn't. Like I put here, can get a few extra reps. Yeah, you can get a few extra reps because you're shifting the tension to other muscles. This is like doing bicep curl and using a ton of momentum, using lots of low back, and then saying, hey, I got a couple extra reps in. Yeah, you got a couple extra reps in because you're using your low back and you're not really using your biceps. Now onto the deficit, and the deficit is completely unnecessary because he ends up going too deep. You can see that as he's going deeper, he loses core tension, so his upper back and his mid back rounds. This will lead to, with the back arching, back injury in the future. This will also lead to decreased force production because when you have a less stable core or a wimpy core instead of a stiff core, this will lead to energy leakage, so you won't be able to lift as much weight. Also, going too far down will lead to the tension shifting away from the target muscles, so doing this will often lead to the tension shifting to the low back and hamstrings instead of sticking to the mid and low back, which is the goal of the exercise. This can also lead to overstretching of the shoulder joint. Now, stretching is not a bad thing. Mobility work is awesome. But I've said in multiple videos that using an extreme range of motion plus heavy load will lead to inevitable injury. Doing this with light loads, good. Doing this as a strength training exercise with lots of load is going to lead to injury, and at the end of the day, this looks more like yoga than it does strength training. You will also be in a weaker position. You have to use less load, and again, if you're using more load, you increase injury risk, and also going super deep here puts the lats in a more disadvantageous position, and I personally believe that when it comes to training, the tension is more important than the stretch. Getting a deeper stretch of the lats in the back here will lead to decreased tension of the lats in the back, and again, the target muscle will shift to more of the low back and hamstrings, which is not the goal of this exercise. When doing any sort of exercise, especially these stupid super stretch exercises, you have to consider the risk to reward ratio. Is it worth it to go this deep when you're shifting the tension away from the target muscles, you're increasing the injury risk, and you're in a weaker position so you'll use less load? Probably not. And when it comes to Eric's form, his later reps look like more of an RDL. Just stop at technical failure, dude. I don't know why these bodybuilders like to somehow do some sort of techniques where they get in extra reps, but it's not more effective, and if anything, it just stresses the central nervous system, or you're just hitting other muscles for no real reason. The solution to this exercise, just do a normal barbell row with moderate, comfortable range of motion. You'll be far stronger and you'll be far safer in this position, and in my opinion, you'll build the same, if not more, muscle doing it this way.
Cable flexion rows. I got a wacky setup because we need the extra range of motion.
Of course.
Loop down. Foot in the dumbbell, get your positioning. And then what you're gonna do is take a full rounded back all the way down, deep stretch for a second, and then come up, arch your back, tummy out, and just gently touch your tummy. So, gently touch. Beautiful. So same idea, eccentric control is great, but on the concentric, I want you to be athletic and stick that tummy out, touch real quick. This is the guy the exercise was invented for. Big stretch. Good. Yes. Go, go, go. Finish, finish. Slow, as if you're gonna do another. Rack.
Next exercise, super range of motion cable row, or as Marlon likes to call it, flexion row. This is a cable horizontal pull, and I have no problem with this. I personally prefer using free weights because it's more functional and it transfers outside the gym far better because the stability demand is more realistic to sports and daily activities. But my issue with most bodybuilders is that they use machines and they use these cable and seated exercises as a priority in their workout routine, and they don't use it as an addition. But here, since they already did their free weight horizontal pull, I have no problem with this, and it will only benefit them having a mixture of both a seated cable exercise as well as a free weight exercise. Looking at this exercise, is this yoga or loaded stretching, or are we doing weight training here? Like, what are we doing? I mean, this looks more like a hamstring stretch than it does a back exercise. This exercise has the same issues with the K-up mid bar row, except this one you keep the legs straight so the hamstrings are gonna be freaking stretched like crazy. You lose core tension, so this leads to back arching, so risk of back injury. You'll have lots of momentum coming out of the bottom, especially with the lats being at a disadvantageous position. You'll have decreased activation of the target muscles, especially at the bottom there, and you're also using momentum to come out of the bottom, like I said before. Shoulder joint stretching under lots of load, and you'll be in a weaker, more disadvantageous position. At the end of the day, you won't be able to load this exercise up consistently because you'll be weaker, and if you do load this exercise up like crazy, there is a far greater injury risk. The solution to this, do a normal cable row. I know this sounds super simple and super obvious, and you would expect people like Marlon and Eric who have a lot of experience in this field and a lot of education to understand this, but I guess they don't.
Eric's gonna warm up really quick. We're gonna go through the technique really quick, and then it's 50 total reps, as many sets as it takes. This is a sweet thing to do if you have one of two concerns. One of three, really. One is you wanna save some time, because you can pound a ton of reps in if you take like 20 to 30 second breaks, a couple more reps. Another one is an intensifier, because every set after the first one, the vast fraction of those reps are starting to get really close to failure. So the number of effective reps, so to speak, goes up significantly. Put another way, the number of approaches to failure you have in 50 total reps is gonna be way higher than if you did like, 5 by 10 or something like that, because a lot of those are lead-in reps and they're not the super hard ones. Another thing is, because each set, you don't really care how many reps you get as long as they all add up to 50. You can do the Eric Janicki shit and get really in that mind-muscle connection. Just focus on every rep being perfect. All you need to think about is, am I doing this right? Because if we have reps from last week that we have to match on pull-ups and stuff, it's a performance exercise, that makes sense. But sometimes in exercises which, like technique, mind-muscle connection really pays dividends, and lat pull-downs is one of them for many people, it's a really good idea. Every now and again, just give yourself a total rep goal. Give yourself 20 to 30 seconds, break between sets, and just go. And every time it's two things, intensity and perfect technique. That way, it might take you 6 sets, it might take you 8 sets, but all the way through, you're getting the 50 total reps, which is the great equalizer for how much stimulus you get, and your quality is gonna be really high. And because it's a huge density, you're gonna get a crazy pump. You're gonna get to 50 like that?
Now their third and final exercise, lat pull downs. So they've done their horizontal pulls and now they have their vertical pulls, which is great that they hit the 2 foundational pulling movements. Pull-ups are better in my opinion, but they mentioned earlier on in this video that Eric is about to compete and he doesn't want to get injured, so I guess I can kind of understand this logic. When Eric does his exercise, he gets too much of a stretch in my opinion. Again, overstretching the shoulder joint with heavy loads can lead to injury. You get a loss of tension of the target muscles at the top, and you'll be in a weaker, more vulnerable position. I'm a little confused as to why they did 2 horizontal pull exercises while doing straight sets, but then they do myo reps for the vertical pull exercise. I don't really understand this logic. I would love to hear why they did that, but it doesn't really make sense to me. Marlon gives you this illusion that myo reps are super magical and they're super effective and it's awesome, when in reality, it's just an effective tool for time efficiency. Myo reps are not magical, and myo reps are not more effective than just normal sets taken close to failure. Myo reps can be a useful tool though, since they're time efficient and can be used when short on time, but they're not super magical and they're not more effective than traditional sets. Summary of this back workout, I actually like their movement selection, so 2 horizontal pulling exercises and then 1 vertical pulling exercise. And unlike what many people think, 3 exercises are all you really need for a good back workout. And I'm also assuming that they use good volume and the intensity seemed to be pretty good, so overall they did have some positives in this workout. But obviously there are a lot of cons. The super range of motion is unnecessary and likely counterproductive for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. And in my opinion, pull-ups would be a far greater choice when it comes to the vertical pulling exercise, but again, I mentioned that Eric stated that he's close to doing competition, so he wanted to do lat pull-downs because of the injury risk. Don't really understand the logic too much, but I'm just going to trust his judgment on this one. I also don't think myo reps were very necessary, but it could be useful if they're short on time, but I don't think they work. When it comes to their workout, you can use their workout. It would actually be very effective, but use a comfortable, moderate range of motion. You'll be strong in this range of motion, and you can continue to load the exercises up safely. So that's my thoughts on their workout. Sorry for not uploading a long form in such a long time. I was recently on vacation and I was busy around the holiday season, but I promise to be more consistent. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see, and if you're wondering how hard hard you need to train to maximize hypertrophy, I just did a video on this, which you should check out.